What up, YouTube? I am Dom Knight. This is Night Talks. Back with a reaction for you today. Had to bring those complicated boys back. They got some new stuff. We got to react to it. This one here, it's called Lonely Men. Rules of Modern Dating and Understanding Women. So let's see what this is about. This should be interesting. I have not watched this. Let's get into it.
Thank you all for 200K. If you want to support this channel, please consider making a donation or clip my videos and share it on all platforms. Don't forget to tag me.
Is it easier for a man or a woman to acquire sex?
That's it.
It is
Dude,
much easier for a
that's
woman
not
to
even a
acquire
question.
sex.
Why is that?
Because we choose.
What kind of tattoos?
We choose whether or not we have the option of whether or not we're gonna let a man have sex or not.
I don't think that that's necessarily true.
Don't women typically consent to sex?
Consent goes both ways.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. What's the longest that a man's ever made you wait for sex?
You know, it's happened. I don't know.
But does that typically happen?
Don't lie.
Maybe. No, it doesn't typically happen.
Okay, so isn't it fair to say that women generally control access to sex more than men
If
do?
a woman wants sex, she can get it. If a man wants sex, doesn't mean he can necessarily get it.
Okay, so is it safe to say that women typically control access to sex more than men do? Because it's easier for a woman to get sex than it is for a man?
I don't like the phrasing that you're boxing me into, but
But I mean, do you have a
Bro,
different way of
answer the
explaining it? I mean, is that not generally true?
I think that
I mean, if it's easier for a woman to get sex and it's harder for a man to get sex, we can't conclude that women typically control access?
okay.
It's easier for a girl for sure.
Yeah, guys are thirsty.
Since it's harder for men, should women be surprised that guys have lower standards for sex than women?
Not really, because I mean, they just want to get it in, right?
Yeah, real quick. I don't know.
Don't women have the privilege of being more picky because they have more options?
I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't women have the privilege of being more picky because they have more options?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of an incel?
No.
An incel?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Have you ever heard of an incel?
No.
Okay, incel stands for involuntarily celibate, and it refers to a person who can't get any sex. Who is more likely to be involuntarily celibate, men or women?
Men.
Men. I think it's 1 in 3 men are not having sex right now.
In today's society, if a man goes up to a woman and asks her for her number or Snapchat, he's looked at as like a creep and a pervert. But if a woman goes up to a man, it's 100% okay, which is not okay to me.
Why are men shamed for not being able to get sex, but also shamed for trying to get sex?
That's a good question. I think it's the way they go about trying to get sex, because women want relationships. Well, I can't say all women, but a good amount of women want relationships, and when you meet the men that just want sex, it kind of tarnishes everything.
Is it fair to shame men for being incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
I don't think you should shame anybody for anything.
Is it fair to shame men for being incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
No, not at all.
Isn't that victim shaming?
Yes, 100%.
Isn't every man who's been rejected temporarily an incel?
Yes.
Is it fair to portray incels as lazy, immature losers because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes!
No.
Fucking incel!
No.
If a man can't get sex, he might be made fun of and called names just for that. And then, well, also I think if a man does get a lot of sex, it might be like everyone praises him also for getting a lot of sex. So I don't really think that there's a whole lot of men out there that are getting shamed for having a lot of sex.
Is it fair to portray incels as lazy, immature losers because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
Negative.
No.
Everybody is built different and has their own standards in life.
If a man does conform, does that make him a simp?
Negative.
No.
Why is it more acceptable to shame men for having low standards versus shaming women for having unrealistic high standards?
That is right. I'm speechless on that one.
Oh yeah, you
This is a
kind
very
of got
good
me
question.
flabbergasted on that one.
Right.
Ah,
Survival of the fittest. Whoever seems like they're about
him.
to get it in, gets it in. and they continue their genes and whatnot. But besides that, like, I don't know.
So would you say, based on that women ultimately control the evolution of society?
Yes.
Based on the men that they choose?
Yes, it's because it's like the mating rituals. Like they say yes or no in most breeds. You
So
know,
then
like
how are we
species.
living in a patriarchy where men have all the power?
Just because that's how society was set up when women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids and the guys went out and did all that shit and we're supposed to rely on them.
What is the longest you've gone without having sex?
A year?
What is the longest by choice you've gone without having sex?
A year.
A year?
Exactly.
Probably like 18 years.
What is the longest
Damn,
by
bro.
choice you've gone without having sex?
Probably like a month.
Who's more likely to lie about how long they've gone without sex, men or women?
Women.
Don't men lie
Women.
about getting more and women lie about getting less?
Yep.
No. Eh,
No, I'd say that's true. I'd say
Yeah.
it's true.
Don't men lie about
Yeah.
getting more and women lie about getting less?
Yes,
Why?
because we're seen as being tarnished for the more sex that we have.
Why are women who sleep around seen as sluts while men who sleep around are seen as studs?
Because men don't want to see that their woman that they have prospect to be interested in has been with every man.
Could it be because it's easier
That's
for a
not
woman to
why.
be a slut?
That's
No.
why.
Well,
No,
don't
that's
women
why.
control access to sex?
They do,
Yes.
but there are many male sluts. They're just being praised for being that way.
But isn't it harder for a man to be a male
That's
slut
the-
than it is for a woman to be a female slut?
Depends on the man.
Wouldn't you say that the high value men with lots of
It's
options are
even.
rare?
Yeah.
So then wouldn't you say that it's more likely for your average woman to be a female slut than your average man?
Yes.
Women sleep with who they
Yes.
want.
Hold up. Before he even continues, first things first, bro. Let's keep it real. Even a high value man, a guy can be making 200K a year, handsome, in shape, all that. He is still going to have a harder time pulling 10 girls to sleep with than an average looking regular chick, got nothing going for her. She can easily get 10 dudes to bang her before he can get 10 chicks to bang him. It is that simple. It is way easier for a woman to get sex. It's that simple. A woman doesn't have to do anything to get sex. She could open her phone, send out a couple text messages, and one of them joints will come back. Yes, I'm down. Men gotta do a little bit more, you know. Not always, but in most situations they do. Let us continue.
Men sleep with who they can.
Facts.
What's the difference between shaming a woman for being a slut and shaming a man for being an incel? In other words, why are women shamed for having too much sex while men are shamed for not getting any sex?
Well, women can't have sex without being attached in some way. It's just in our innate.
What do you mean they
not true.
can't have sex?
Not that they can't have sex. They can't
not
have
true.
sex without having some type of emotional attachment.
Why do you think men are more likely to be able to have sex without feelings
That
than
is
women?
not true at all.
Because you guys are made to procreate.
The name is involuntarily celibate, so the man is not choosing.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice for that one.
Oh,
but
yeah.
us females, we definitely have a choice to be a slut or not.
Well, because women control access to sex.
I control whether you take my clothes off or not.
We do.
Don't women have a choice to be a slut, but a man doesn't have a choice to be an incel?
Yeah.
So then why would it be worse to call a woman a slut than it is to call a man an incel?
I don't know why it would be worse.
But our society labels it as worse.
They label being an incel worse than being a slut?
Well, in other words, a lot of women resent being called a slut when they have
Correct.
a choice to be a slut, but it's okay for men to be called incels when men don't have a choice to be an incel because men don't control access to sex.
I think men don't have the choice on what they're doing, but nowadays with social media going the way it is, women have actually embraced slut. And that's the problem.
Do you think women today are more interested in relationships or hookups?
Yeah, they have.
You know, I would say more hookups today.
Why?
Because they have all these rappers, you know, saying, influencing them, like, trying to... Basically, they're trying to play the role as men, you know? They're trying to play us out of our money, and it's bullshit.
Me personally, I'm more interested in relationships. Women nowadays, I think, are more worried about their careers and hookups.
So if women are more interested in hookups, how can a man let a woman know he just wants to hook up without making her feel like a slut?
There isn't a way, no matter what.
So aren't we kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't?
Yes, you are.
Would you rather have the best sex you've ever had or the best food you've ever eaten?
Best food you ever eaten.
Yeah, food for sure.
Best food I've ever eaten.
I'm a foodie. I like.
Would you rather eat all the junk food you want without gaining weight or have unlimited sex without being slut-shamed?
Unlimited
sex without
Yo,
being
I was
slut-shamed.
like, bro, I was like, I already know
are the
what they
biggest
gonna
slut
pick.
shamers, men or
Come
women?
on, bro.
Women?
Women.
Why are there men who shame women for being sluts when men also complain about how hard it is to get laid? Are those the same men?
No. I think the men that are calling women sluts are looking for a woman that aren't sluts.
If a woman's body count doesn't matter, why is it typically the first thing women bring up to shame another woman they are jealous of? In other words, why would a woman ever slut shame another woman?
Because they know deep down body count does matter.
Is the main reason women don't want to be easy is because they don't want to be shamed? Or could it be that they don't want to relinquish their sexual power over men?
I don't think either one of those. I think the reason why women don't want to be easy is because we don't want to have a body count because we want to find somebody that wants us for who we are. And the guys that we're looking for don't want a woman with high body count.
Why is it okay for women to feel entitled to be protected and provided for, but it's wrong for men to feel entitled to sex and intimacy?
I think after being provided for so long, and once you're comfortable in the relationship, that men are going to expect for you to be intimate with them at a certain point.
Are women doing men a favor by giving them sex?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
For a moment.
If a woman rewards a man with
make
sex,
sure
why
you
is there
don't
still
say that.
pressure on him to perform and satisfy her?
I feel like men can be selfish.
But girls will not come back if they're not
Good
like
question.
doing well. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, why should a man have to earn the opportunity to please you sexually?
Because women get to decide everything in other species, so why not human species?
Okay, but then if that's true, then why do we complain about being in a male-dominated patriarchy where men control women?
Because
All right, guys. We gonna cut that there. That was a good one. That was a real good one. Good conversation. They got into some stuff. One thing they got into is this whole incel thing versus slut shaming. Like, the bottom line is a woman is always, no matter what she looks like, what she's got going on, she's always gonna have an easier time getting sex than a guy, no matter what he's got going on. All right. Guys who are incels, I don't personally think they hate women. I think guys who are incels are just guys who lack confidence, lack the looks, lack the charisma to pull women. I think a lot of them are shy. They won't put themselves out there. One thing I agreed, the one chick towards the end, he had asked her, if you were a man, how would you approach a woman? She said she would go to a bar or whatever. But one thing that she did say was true when he asked about the friend zone. She was like, yo, dudes just try and play the nice guy role too much. And yo, that is so true. Don't try and be the good guy. Don't try and be the nice guy. Don't try and impress her. Be yourself. Let her see who you are. She will like that way more than you putting on this act, bro. If you want a girl, if you're interested in a girl for more than a friendship, then you need to go for it like that. Don't approach it like a nice dude trying to make a friend. You ain't trying to make a friend. You trying to get something. All right? And you got to treat it that way. Men who are lonely, men who spend time without women, I think there's a lot of things that can play into it, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not about being high value or having money or anything like that. I'm gonna tell you right now, before I had any money, before I made decent money, bro, I still got girls. I had girls, good looking girls, when I was broke, when I had nothing. You know what I mean? I did. It's about who you are, bro. But there does come a point in life where you can't be 35 years old, 40 years old, still operating like you're 20, 21. Then you ain't gonna get no girls. You have to be at the appropriate place in your life at the appropriate age when it comes to women to pull the type of women you want. If you're in your early 20s, you're not gonna have a lot of money. You're not gonna have a lot of resources, all right? But you should still be able to pull girls because you're young, and you should be able to pull a young girl that likes you for you, okay? But when you start getting in your 30s, 40s, girls are looking for some stability, some resources, a guy with a job, a guy they don't have to worry about, a guy who, can take them out once in a while. So it's a lot of things that go into this, but I personally think that no man should be an incel. I don't think any man should be an incel. If you should be able to find one girl that you can vibe with, get along with, that will be willing to sleep with you. I don't know. I can't speak on our guys. I don't know how every guy thinks, but I do know this: no guy wants to be celibate voluntary. All right. I've never heard of it. Never heard of a guy who's like, you know what, I'm just done with sex. Any guy who said that, he was having sex before and he's done with it because some things happened to him in that experience. No dude just woke up and said, you know what, I'm just not gonna have sex with any woman. Hot girl comes up to me and wants it, I'm gonna deny it. Never. All right. I don't think any man should be living in that mindset. And if you are a guy and you're seeing this and you are an incel, hey, I'm not coming at you. Ain't no problems. But you should probably start doing some things to change your life and change your outcomes. All right, guys. I am Dom Knight. This is Night Talks. Fun as usual. Always give it up to us. It's complicated. Make sure you check out their channel. They got some great content, some older content that's really good too. Guys, like this video, subscribe to the channel for more of my content. Hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. Toss my social media is right there. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok only if you want to. I will be back on Wednesday.
That's ISO. Rack it up, I got a bit of the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and she bringing the cake out. Smoke it up, I got some gas, some packs, I'm up in the greenhouse.